hello. Hello. Treasurer Estate Magazine.
Hello, Councilwoman.
Hi.
We just wait a few minutes before we start. Let's have some more people coming in.
All right, Dr. Aswood.
Yep.
Thank you. You're good to go, Dr. Aswood.
All right. Good evening, and thank you all who are here with us this evening to celebrate International Women's Day. I thank you whether you are live with us now, if you're watching on Facebook Live. Again, I want to thank you for taking the time to celebrate the fourth Hope and Change for Haiti's fourth annual International Women's Day celebration. And so we sincerely appreciate your time and your presence to celebrate with us, especially this year with COVID. All of our lives have been impacted. I remember last year this was at the State House, but today we're joining from all over, and I guess there's some good in that, right? Last year you had to think about parking and how you're going to get to the State House. This year, not so much, right? So the little things we can be thankful for sometimes, right? So again, I welcome you this evening, and I hope that you get a chance to enjoy this opportunity and this opportunity with us today. Starting with our welcome remarks is going to be Dr. Abelard, and he is going to give our welcoming remarks from Hope and Change for Haiti.
Thank you, Dr. Aswood. Good evening. I would like to thank all of you for your effort in joining Hope and Change for Haiti on such a special occasion tonight. This is the fourth year since Hope and Change first launched this event in our community. Hope and Change for Haiti took this initiative because International Women's Day is not a day we should be quiet about. Let me take 2 minutes to share a little anecdote with you. About 20 years ago, on a campus in Flagstaff, Arizona, a group of students were having a conversation. Many of them were international students, mingled with some American folks. It was the beginning of the fall semester and everybody was excited to make new friends. During the conversation, one male student made a statement. He said, "I'm a feminist." The reactions varied, but for some mysterious reason, the other students' responses were quite cold. It looked like the statement turned the fellow into a strange dude. especially from the perspective of the females who heard the statement. Interesting, right? 2 days later, one of those girls who felt she was pretty brave approached a strange dude and asked him out on a date. She was very beautiful, so she didn't have to ask twice. They went out and enjoyed each other's company. Before they knew it, they fell in love. And it wasn't until then that the fellow found out about the cold reaction. Nobody understood what he was talking about when he said he was a feminist. Some of the girls actually thought he was gay. Even asking him out on a date was a test. So the fellow was flabbergasted, quite flabbergasted. He could not believe that nobody understood that little statement that he had made. And I know this story very well because I was that guy. My takeaway from the story is that people can be oblivious about things that we think are obvious to everybody. So it looks to me that people pay little attention to important things like women's rights. So to be quiet about women issues is being accomplice in all injustice that women are victims of around the world. When I declared that I was a feminist 20 years ago, I was not a husband. I was not a father. But now I am a father of 3 girls. And I have a wife, 3 sisters, a lot of cousins, a lot of students, many of whom I consider my daughters somehow. So I will be brief, but I want to say this. International Women's Day is an opportunity to show more love for girls and women, an opportunity to express our gratitude to the women in our lives, an opportunity to stand up for women's rights, and an opportunity to teach young boys to be respectful to girls and women, an opportunity to be aware and to raise awareness about discrimination and injustice that women are victims of. It is an opportunity to celebrate women and reflect on women's reality around the world. International Women's Day is not a woman thing. It is everybody's business. Everybody. And I'm happy that we have quite a bit of men here tonight. I hope our time together will be a very productive moment. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much for those remarks, Dr. Abelard. And I love what you said about being aware and also raising awareness, something that is needed every day, right? So we celebrate on this day, but needed it every day. And I know from the short time that I've known you, you're definitely an advocate for women. So inspiring words. Thank you very much for the welcome remarks. For our next presenter with us, it's going to be Councilman Nicole Renzulli. English is my second language, so every now and then I will ask you to bear with me if perhaps I mispronounce. So I apologize for that sincerely. So if you'll give me just a moment. Councilman Renzulli is a coach and a working mother of 3. She was elected as CityWide Council in 2020, and please join me in welcoming her. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here tonight. I'm so excited to be part of this International Women's Day celebration. And I'm so incredibly proud to serve on Cranston's City Council with 3 other women who are here tonight. And it's really been a great experience so far to be part of the city's council has had the most women in our city's history. As you said, I am a mother of 3. I have 2 daughters who I'm very proud of, and I also have a son. And I do make it a point in my life to teach my daughters and my son the importance of equal rights and to celebrate women. And I think that teaching them that will have my son pass that on, and my daughters to grow up knowing that they can be anything that they want to be. As far as what I do to choose to challenge is the theme of International Women's Day this year. And I am choosing to challenge inequity in sports. As a coach at the high school and middle school level here in Cranston, I see it at there's pretty much equal opportunity here. As far as sports go, we have I coach a girl in track who also plays on the football team. And it's really been open as far as I've seen. We've had female hockey players on the boys team, and that's been amazing. And I took the opportunity to become a coach because I believe that setting the example for young women that they can progress in sport, whether they want to become coaches or leaders in other roles. I think that they really need to see that. And because we don't have enough female role models or enough visible females in leadership roles or positions of power. And unfortunately, I think that, leads to girls being socialized to know that their gender roles are already set up for them. So with all these millions of girls who play sports across the world, I think it's really important for them to see leaders in sport as well. And as we close out we just closed out a challenging year in our history, when society returns to normal, whatever that means, I think there will be profound changes in every aspect of life, and that includes sports. For women's teams and sports at the high performance levels, the truth is that COVID-19 has unmasked for everyone what many already knew. There is massive, unjustifiable, and unsustainable spending on men's sports compared to women's. And unfortunately, historically and currently, Title IX is being unfairly and inaccurately blamed for the massive cutting of men's and women's sports at the college level. And rather than drawing attention to how much overinvestment there is in men's basketball and football. And I think that women's sport provides an opportunity for increased returns and brand authenticity. And if the media, spent more time focused on women's sports, then more equity would be seen across the board. So I think it's now the time to call out sexism, gender bias, the patriarchy, and male dominance that's embedded in sport. Because sports are helping women around the world, girls and women, get scholarships to college, learn leadership roles. And I think it's up to us to really show that they have these opportunities. And COVID-19 has shown us so many different parts of life that we need to reevaluate, that I take it very seriously as a coach. That I want to continue to be in a leadership role and show girls and young women that they deserve equal opportunity in life, and in how I show every day is in sport. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight and to present what I choose to challenge. And I will continue to choose to challenge inequality for women and all people, across the board. But I'm so proud to get to do it through sport. I grew up in sports and was able to get some scholarship money to college. And I hope that I show my athletes that they can do the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. a wonderful example. And like you said, in sports, it's a great way that our athletes learn leadership skills and how to socialize and be with others. So definitely a worthy cause for women. So I will continue to move forward to our next presenter for the evening, Councilwoman Jessica Marino. Now, Councilwoman Marino is an attorney who lives in the Cranston area for over 20 years. She's a working mom of 2 school-age kids. Councilwoman Marino was elected to CityWide Council in November 2020. Please join me in welcoming Councilman and Attorney Jessica Marino.
Thank you. Thank you very much for hosting this event tonight. Hope for Haiti and Aniece for inviting me. In terms of, Aniece had mentioned this is really about choosing a challenge. And for me, the challenge that I choose is judgment. And what I mean by that is we're all guilty of it, but it impacts everything we do in every aspect of our lives. And oftentimes when we are faced with someone who has a different perspective, has a different background, we are guilty sometimes of having a closed-minded approach and thinking, well, we know, where this person comes from, or the word difference is somehow a bad word, and it's not. So I think it's very important for all of us to take time to be very open-minded and welcome different opinions rather than kind of pigeonhole into our own ideas. It's from the differences that we all have, from the different opinions, that great things can emerge. And sometimes it's not the easiest thing to do. And the other thing I would point out along those lines is that in life, there are stereotypes that as women we've all faced, whether as a child, coming from, a male could do something, but a girl couldn't. I grew up in a time where it was still, boys can play baseball, but girls can't. And whether it was then or now, I think it's important for women and for females to, even if someone else isn't putting the gender aside, you can do that for yourself. Confidence is not a bad thing. And you really need to take up the hard fight, even if it's for yourself or for someone else, and males can be instrumental in that role. Nowadays, yes, girls can play baseball. There's, less stigma around those lines, but there's other subtleties that women face. I know as a professional, there's an assumption that if a woman is going to disagree, well, then she's emotional. No, it's not emotion. I'm just being a professional and being disagreeable. And for the most part, most people understand that, but not everyone does get that. And I think that's very important to keep in mind, that, our differences make us stronger together, and just to keep an open mind in general. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Very important to keep in mind. You saying that made me think about, I read a study a while ago, and it said that in early years of school, first, second, third grade, girls and boys think alike about the things that they can do and what they can be in life. And by the time you get to middle school, girls start to reduce those. The same list gets much shorter for girls and what they think they can do and what they can be in life. So certainly, like you said, in things like math and science, right, in those kinds of areas, so we can certainly continue to champion that. I certainly agree with you. So our next presenter for the evening, who's going to make some welcoming remarks, is our General Treasurer, South Magaziner. I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. Please join me in welcoming our General Treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you, Aswood, and thank you all. I think I have a bit of a delay, but hopefully you all can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right, great. Well, before I start, I just want to say all of my Haitian friends, if you all can unmute yourselves, push unmute. So Norley and Councilwoman Germain and all of the other Haitians, because I want to try this virtually and see if it works. Sac passe.
Nabule.
So
Yeah, you
everyone
got it.
knows. So and Norley and Aniece, tell me if I'm wrong. Sac passe means like what's up.
Yes,
And now
yes, you
is
got
like,
it right.
I'm hanging out. So we're gonna try it one more time with everyone, and then I'll start for real. So I'm gonna say sac passe, and everybody else needs to say nabule. All right.
Nabule.
1, 2, 3. Sac passe.
Nabule.
All right. Well, thank you all. Hope and Change for Haiti for your incredible work. Norley, thank you. My friend Councilwoman Aniece Germain, thank you for your leadership, and all of the other members of the council who are on. And of course, I need to give a special shout out to Councilwoman Vargas, who wears many hats, not the least of which is doing a terrific job managing the unclaimed property system in our office and the Office of the General Treasurer, where Lammis has almost single-handedly reunited 100,000 Rhode Islanders with their missing money over the last 6 years. So today is International Women's Day. The theme is to embrace I'm going to butcher this, to rise to the challenge. And I would just say my perspective is we are fortunate that in Rhode Island, we have had strong, intelligent, inspirational women rising to the challenge for years in all walks of life, in government, in business, in nonprofit work, in community work, and the choice that needs to be made is not, whether women are going to choose to challenge, because you have been. The choice is whether the rest of us are going to support and embrace the role of women in making that challenge. And so I thought that the words from Councilor Marino were great in the sense that, all of the rest of us who are not women need to learn how to check ourselves, to make sure that when we are interacting with women in the workplace or outside of the workplace, that we are doing so in a way that is truly listening and truly giving women the space to lead. And we need to make sure that all of us are doing what we can to break down the old biases that have made it so difficult for women to advance in our society, because it is in all of our interest to make sure that everyone has the ability to achieve their full potential and to get off the sidelines and to contribute to our society according to the gifts that they've been given. And so I want to thank Hope and Change for Haiti for your role in elevating women in our state. I want to thank all of you who are on this call for taking the time to do this as well. We have a lot of work to do in Rhode Island. We have a lot of work to do to achieving true equity, whether it is economic equity or equity and justice or in government. But I do believe that working together and listening to each other, we can achieve that dream of true equality and take our state to new heights. So thank you all very much. Thank you, Hope and Change for Haiti, and happy International Women's Day to everyone.
Thank you very much to our General Treasurer. Thank you for the that was very helpful. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Norley Germain.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Aswood. I don't have a presentation, but I just want to acknowledge all our elected officials who are joining us today to celebrate International Women's Day, especially we are so happy and proud of our elected officials in Cranston because we do have the 4 ladies from the City Council with us tonight, and all of them gonna give some remarks, but also we want to acknowledge the presence of the Vice President of the City Council, Mr. Ed Brady, and we also have Matt Riley, who is the Cranston, the councilman in Ward 6 in Cranston. General Seth Magazine is always there for us. We thank you for that, and we appreciate all the work you do, not only everywhere around Rhode Island, but especially you always give a very special attention to minority communities in Rhode Island. So I want also to acknowledge the presence of Councilman at large, Robert Ferry, who would join us also today. Thank you for joining. So if I miss any, do I miss any elected officials here in the?
We can acknowledge Nisa, who is represented Senator Whitehouse here with us. So Nisa.
Okay, thank you.
If she has something to say, we can ask her. Okay, Nisa, just say hi and thank you. So otherwise, we do not have, and we say yes.
Okay.
All right.
And of course, I want to acknowledge the fact that we, Senator Jack Reed couldn't make it, but in a few minutes, I would play a recording that he sent for this event also. So we're gonna do that in a few minutes.
Would you like to do that now? Now is a no, for a little. Do you want to do it now? Or do you want to wait a little bit?
We're gonna wait a little bit.
Gotcha. All right, fantastic. So we're gonna keep going. Our next presenter for the evening is going to be Councilman Lammis Vargas. Again, I apologize if I mispronounce your name. Miss Councilwoman Vargas serves on the serving her second term for Ward 1 council person. She is a working mom of 2. She was elected as the first Latina in Cranston Council in 2018. And I understand she is also a Pride alum of Rhode Island College. So please join me in welcoming Councilwoman Vargas.
Good evening. Thank you to all of us. Thank you to Haiti for Change. First and foremost, happy International Women's Day to all the amazing and beautiful women. I'm fortunate to serve with 4 of them here in the city of Cranston. So once again, happy International Women's Day. I'd like to, start by thanking all of the trailblazers that have come before us and paved the path for us so that we continue to work on so many more things that are still not done, unfinished. Women's International Month is a global day where we celebrate the social, the economic, cultural, and political achievements for women. And so there's a lot to celebrate and yet a lot of work to continue to do. And I say this because there are many barriers facing women, girls, here in our own backyard, but more so in other countries throughout the world as well. Well, we have accomplished so much, and so many of us have and still continue to contribute to society in areas of technology as entrepreneurs and the world of education and science and public service and in many other arenas. We must continue to empower each other. We have come a long way, but we're still behind in leadership roles in terms of CEO roles, and executive level role. Women are still pushing to reach to the top while some of our male counterparts are not understanding this. But we have challenges, and it's 2021, and we have the challenge in being treated equally. We see this in the workforce. over and over, and my advice on this to many other women, to every woman, is to not give up, to raise your hand in a meeting, speak up, be heard, take risk, and take challenging roles, and do not be afraid for the unexpected. The inequalities facing women have happened for too long. So we must empower one another and build a sisterhood. I apologize. I have really bad allergies. Be heard, take risk, and take challenging roles, and not to be afraid for the unexpected, as mentioned. The inequalities facing women have happened for so long. So we must empower one another and build a sisterhood to lift each other up and rise. We are powerful alone, but we become powerful more so when we're determined to have each other's back. Give me 1 second. I apologize for that. I just have to, give me 1 second, dry my eyes for a second. I apologize. I have very bad dry eyes. I apologize. I'm not crying. We must be confident, we must be assertive, but we also must be mentors and inspire all the young girls of all nationalities, race, and colors who look up to us and tell them to be ambitious, to use their voices, because they too have a world of opportunity and they have the power to succeed. Now, as a woman of color, as a Latina, I must say that we tend to be underrepresented in professional areas, but we must continue to advocate for many young girls and women and be their voices while holding people accountable for inclusion and equity. Just as we have the challenges in the workforce and the many inequalities we have faced, I've mentioned, and many others that I will not get into, we also have accomplishments. I'll start off with that. We have seen for the first time in our country's history, a woman who broke glass ceiling. We have the first woman of color as our vice president. We have a first woman in general as our vice president. We have the right to vote. We've had the right to serve alongside now in the military, the right to equal pay. And so I choose all of us to challenge all of ourselves to respect and empower one another, but to mentor a young girl, because the power of a female mentor allows our young girls to be confident in themselves, to succeed, but also believe in themselves that they can too do anything they set their minds to. And I will leave it with this quote from one of my favorite poets, Maya Angelou. I am grateful to be a woman. I must have done something great in another life. Thank you once again for allowing me to speak this evening. And again, happy International Women's Day.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Vargas, for a wonderful spirited remarks about, you mentioned, that we have the right to vote, that we have the right to equal pay. And those two things are rights that we continue to fight for every day, and that we should never lose track of those two rights, right? There are times where there seem to be a moving target. So all the more reason that we stay focused on those. Thank you very much. For our next presenter, I present to you Miss Aniece Germain. She is not only a working mom of 3, but also the a founding member of Hope and Change for Haiti. She is an assistant, the executive director of Hope and Change for Haiti, and she is definitely who I want to be when I grow up, because I'm ever amazed by what she does in a single day. So please join me in welcoming Miss Aniece Germain.
Thank you, Aswood. I really do not have a presentation, but I am honored to be serving as the council among those phenomenal working mom, professional, and in our city for the first time. So I'm lucky to be making history with those women. So I want to say thank you to you all. Thank you to our city. Thank you to all the people who support Hope and Change. I started with Hope and Change. I wear many hats, but we have challenges, and all of you mentioned those challenges we cannot overcome them alone. And that's why we do right now. And in the council, and I am so faithful, we started, and thank you, Councilwoman Nicole Renzulli, who passed a resolution to celebrate Women History in Cranston this year. And as Hope and Change, we use to organize. This is our 4th annual Women History Month, international. We call it international because it's worldwide. But this year, I'm so honored to celebrate with you and thank you for the resolution you passed at the council. So we have challenges, and one of the challenges women face, particularly women of color, Black women, is racism. So while we're talking about having women in the leadership position, and one thing that women of color face is the retention. Racism rooted in our institution, it, prevent women of color to, get in the ladder, to get in the role of the leadership because of all those barriers that embedded in racism. So that's why we choose to challenge inequality and exclusion. And myself, I choose to challenge racism. So I call every one of you to help me because alone, I'm a Black woman, I cannot do it. I have people tell me, you are a Black person. If you keep talking about racism, people will think you are divided. And this is the language. When the Black people talk about racism, the barriers, the stereotype, and you are singled out like someone who wants to make troubles. So I said, no, I want to have allies and I have allies. So I want to get more allies because you are not in my shoes. And one thing I will remember all the time, when I introduced the resolution on Black history, the president of the council told me, I may not walk in your shoes, but I stand with you. And that statement keep me alive, I say. That statement means so much to me because he knew that standing with me, that means a lot. Standing with me, that means we're going to work together to make change we want. So I call to every one of you, if you are in the sideline, if you don't know what to do, we have resources we're going to share with you. So on the society we want to have, the society we want to live, the legacy we want to live for our generation, for our children, great-grandchildren, it has to be better. And how is it gonna be better? Is when we work together, okay? When we work together to combat racism. And whether you believe it or not, racism is at the core of aspect of our lives, whether you see it, whether you don't see it. So what I ask you is to pay attention to little detail, pay attention with our language, pay attention with our judgment, and how we can make a better place, a better community for our generation to come. It's not something that will be done right now, but if we start working from now, from our school, our home, because those stereotypes, they are perpetuated from home to school to churches. So have a listening ears and understanding and willingness to make the change together. Thank you for everyone who attended. So we're going to continue to celebrate International Women's Days here in Cranston. We've been doing it for 4 years, and we're going to make change together. As I said, that's my motto, together for change. And I thank you. Happy International Women's Days, happy Women History. And every woman, every little girl, and wherever you are in Haiti, okay, in Europe, wherever you are. So happy International Women's Days. And thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you, Councilwoman Aniece, for those wonderful remarks. So I know next we have Dr. Norley mentioned that we have a Is it a video you're going to play
That's a
from
video.
Senator Jack Reed? Okay,
Yes.
go ahead.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jack Reed. Happy International Women's Day. This year's theme is Choose to Challenge, and that is what Councilwoman Aniece and Germain and the Hope and Change for Haiti team do every day. They work, especially during these challenging times, provide a lifeline for Rhode Islanders and make our state a more inclusive place. This same can be said for tonight's honoree, Henrietta White-Holder. As the founder and executive director of Higher Ground International, Henrietta has spent years fighting for the immigrant and refugee communities here in Rhode Island and supporting the people in her native Liberia. When the pandemic struck, Henrietta and her team sprang into action to meet the community's needs, serving as a vital lifeline for our neighbors experiencing some of the most devastating consequences caused by this pandemic. Thank you, Henrietta. The pandemic has brought home the urgency of challenging inequality and exclusion wherever we see it. Women have been carrying more than their fair share of burden of the pandemic. It also reminded us that we have more work to do to achieve gender equality. As caregivers and frontline workers, the pandemic has set women back economically. Investing in women and advancing gender equality will be essential to our recovery. International Women's Day is the perfect time to rededicate ourselves to equality and inclusion. I look forward to joining you in this noble cause. Thank you.
All right, that was Senator Jack Reed. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it, and he promised that he was going to leave us, send us a greetings from Washington. As you know, in Washington right now, it is a busy period for all our congressmen and senators also. We are so happy that they signed some bills that would, that would really serve especially minority communities. So we were so happy with the work that he is doing so far. Our representative in Washington have been doing. So thank you a lot to Senator Jack Reed. I don't know if Aaron was supposed to be with us. Aaron is representative for, Aaron, are you there? I cannot figure out if Aaron Arcand, representative of Senator Jack Reed office. No. Okay. So, Aniece, you want to do the introduction about our honoree today, Henrietta, even though unfortunately she couldn't make it. If you know Henrietta in the community, so everyone knows about her health issues, health situation. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it as she attended an event, a public event yesterday. Unfortunately for today, she couldn't make it, but we have everything. Annie?
Yes. Thank you so much. And as Hope and Change for Haiti, when we first started, we said our team is reflecting and celebrating women. And every year when we celebrate, we honor a woman. There is so much women to honor, but we cannot do it all at the same time. So we pick one or two, but this year we pick one because of the pandemic. We are in a virtual setting and we know people cannot wait too long. So we take only one. But if you know anyone, you can, give us recommendation for next year. So we will continue to do that. So our honoree for tonight is Henrietta White-Holder. She is the founder and CEO of Higher Ground International. Henrietta Tonya is a native Liberian. She is a humanitarian social entrepreneur, community builder, and passionate advocate for the disadvantaged and underserved. In 2008, with an unexpected gift of only $1,000, and we founded the nonprofit NGO Higher Ground International. Since then, Henry has accomplished a lot with very little. In addition to lobbying to end the 14-year civil war in Liberia and helping to integrate and empower young refugees in Rhode Island, Higher Ground has brought clean water and sanitation to Liberia with the installation of latrines and hand pumps in rural villages in Huntington, Liberia. In 2015, Henry, who understands the power of a warm hug, opened the Wukita, the Swahili word for rising up, progress, center on the south side of Providence, Rhode Island. The Wukita Center was the first venue of its kind in Providence to offer intergenerational programs for women and youth empowerment programs, the Sweetie Care program for African immigrants and refugee elders, and work in literacy programs. Henrietta is a warrior. She dedicated her life, every day to serve women and young girls in the community. And as General Set Magazine mentioned, she was there every day to help families during the pandemic, for food, for everything. So it's an honor for us to really recognize the tremendous work, incredible work of this incredible woman, which is Henrietta White-Holder. Unfortunately, she cannot be here. She was sick with COVID-19. If you know that she went to the hospital, she was hospitalized for 18 days, okay, with COVID-19. And God is so good, and God got her back. So we are so grateful for her for her service in our community. That's why the City Council gave a citation, okay? The city of Cranston gave a citation to Henrietta, and Henrietta is a Cranston resident as well. So the Cranston City Council, be it known to all that the Cranston City Council hereby issues the citation to Henrietta White-Holder on the occasion of Hope and Change for Haiti, 4th annual reflecting and celebrating International Women's Day event in recognition of her unconditional love and dedication to serve women and girls in the community. It witnessed whereof we set our hands and seal on this 8th day of March 2021, and signed by Council President Christopher Papauska, Council Vice President Edward Brady, Councilman Robert Ferry, CityWide, Councilwoman Jessica Marino, CityWide, Councilwoman Nicole Renzulli, CityWide, Councilwoman Lammis Vargas, Ward 1, Councilwoman Aniece Germain, Ward 2, Councilwoman John Donegan, Ward 3, Councilman Matt Welly, Ward 6. This is a citation from the Cranston City Council to Henrietta. And we have a citation from the office of Senator Jack Reed, and we have one from the office of General Treasurer Seth Magaziner, and one from the office of Congressman Cicilline, And we have from office of Congressman Langevin and Senator Whitehouse. So as we are pushing for our keynote
we
time,
need to
so
deal with the time. Unfortunately, you won't be
so
able
I
to
hear,
read.
and Aswood, you have the podium. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing that wonderful news with us that Henrietta is feeling much better. So that's always great news, especially all of the losses and difficulties that we've experienced due to COVID-19. So it's always great to get a little bit of good news. So thank you for that. So I want to turn now to our keynote speaker for the evening. I'm going to share just a little bit about him and his work, and then we'll get to hear from him. So Dr. Paul Bruno de
Mesquita,
thank you, is our keynote speaker for the evening. So for the past 4 decades, Paul has worked as a scientist, practitioner, psychologist, and advocate for violence prevention and positive psychological development of children and youth in schools and in direct service treatment settings, particularly in underrepresented and underserved, economically disadvantaged immigrant communities in the United States. Earning a graduate degree at Indiana University and the University of Texas at Austin, he completed both his doctorate internship training and postdoctorate fellowship in child clinical psychology at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center Internship Consortium in Memphis, Tennessee. He served as an assistant and associate professor in school and in psychology at the University of Kentucky, where he directed 2 large-scale professional psychology personal preparation grants with the Institute of Human Development, and was a lead evaluator for the statewide preschool component of the Kentucky Education Reform Act. Joining the psychology department of Kentucky Department of the University of Rhode Island, he served as a training director for the master's and doctoral programs in school psychology for several years before becoming the director of URI's Center for Nonviolence and Peace Studies in 2009. He was honored as the first recipient of the URI Sylvia Chandley Professorship in Peace Studies in 2010 and 2012. Dr. Mesquita's career has been focused largely on addressing public health trends of conflicts, aggression, and violence through primary prevention and delivery of population-oriented mental health services for youth and young adults. He was introduced to nonviolence as an effective psychological method for personal and social transformation by Dr. Bernard Lafayette, who was a close associate of and staff member to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Under the mentorship and training guidance of Dr. Lafayette, Paul became a level 3 advanced nonviolence trainer. Since 2009, he has directed the annual URI International Nonviolence Summer Institute and personally been responsible for the recruitment and training of a growing network of certified trainers in nonviolence conflicts, reconciliation methods, which includes nearly 1,000 members from over 45 countries and 28 United States. In partnership with peace activists, NGOs, and universities, he has conducted international nonviolence trainings, and help to institutionalize nonviolence, peace education programs in Nepal, the state of Jammu Kashmir, Tamil Nadu, and Nagaland, India, and several West African countries. The center's advanced leadership and developing training has recently led to the establishment of a number of partner nonviolence and peace centers in India, Nepal, Haiti, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and the Congo. Under his leadership, the URI Center continues to fulfill its mission to realize Dr. King's final vision of a global, beloved community by providing transformative, nonviolence, and inner peace training and education programs at an international and institutional levels. This past summer, Paul led the first online virtual International Nonviolence Summer Institute, training nearly 300 participants from 18 countries and 30 United States. In addition to these duties in psychology, Dr. Bruno Di Mesquita heads the Global Peace Specialization Area in URI's International Relation Graduate Program, teach NV 500 seminars, Introduction to Theory, Research, and Practice of Nonviolence and Peace. He recently edited a book, King Gain Nonviolence, Applications and for International and Institutional Change, is a collection of chapters contributed by individuals who have earned certifications in Kingay Nonviolence Conflict Resolution at the Center's annual International Nonviolence Summer Institute. Inspirational chapters describe international and institutional application of Kingay Nonviolence and are organized into geographic sections spanning 4 continents: South America, Africa, South Asia, and the Balkans of Southeast Europe. Their stories in this volume offer evidence of the various ways in which training and education in the philosophy and methodology of nonviolence can initiate and guide social change at both an international and institutional level. Teaching and research interest in the area of nonviolence, peace psychology, peace, health, minds, compassion, violence prevention, mental health consultation, and internal relation and cultural diversity. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Paul Bruno de Mesquita.
Okay. Thank you very much, Aswood, for that very comprehensive and lengthy introduction. I hope that wasn't so lengthy and troubling for you, but I was very grateful for your patiently going through so much of that. Thank you so much. I want to just get right down to sharing some quick remarks with you, and I'm going to share some information visually with you by sharing the slide. And I hope, I'm not able to do that. Norley, are you able to allow me to share the screen?
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can add you.
Share the host.
Yes.
The host. It's okay if you can't.
That's okay. I need to find you first because I have a long list. All right. Okay, what I can do, make host. Now you should be able to do it.
Okay. So I will I'll share a little bit. I hope you can I hope this is coming through okay. You can tell me.
Not yet. It's coming.
Yes. Is it coming through now?
No, not yet.
I'm seeing my screen. You're not?
We just see a black screen right now. I don't know if you try to scroll to your next one, if you will be able to see that.
Yeah, the screen is black. We can see your cursor.
Okay, one moment. Thank you. I'm sorry for this.
No worries. That's our new reality thanks to COVID.
Okay. Let me see here. I'll get this going again. I'm going to stop the sharing and I'll start the sharing again. How's this? Are you seeing the share?
No, it's black.
Okay, let me just begin. I don't need to, I can share my own remarks. I don't need to show you some pictures, but I hope I don't get too boring with you. Thank you all of you for participating in the celebration of International Women's Day. I want to just say this very important day for me in celebration of women and the role that women have played so importantly in my life, for which I would not be where I am today. And I honor all women today, particularly those very important to me in my life. I want to express my gratitude for the special guests who have made their remarks today. Dr. Abelard and Aswood, thank you very much for your remarks in the beginning. The councilwomen, just it's wonderful to see all of you councilwomen, Marino, Renzulli, Vargas, and Aniece, Germain, taking the lead. What wonderful role models you are, and really how forward Cranston is in having such wonderful, positive, and powerful women in its city government there. It's quite impressive. Want to also just, I'm sorry Henrietta couldn't be here, but I was looking forward to meeting her, but certainly we want to honor her for her great work with Higher Ground. And all women everywhere. As has been introduced, I'm with the Center for Nonviolence and Peace Studies at the University of Rhode Island, and our motto there is to think peace, to live peace, and to be peace. And our work is not only to educate people in nonviolent and peaceful means of living and addressing conflict, but also how nonviolence and peaceful strategies and methods can actually change the world that we live in, not just on a personal basis, but more importantly, on a social basis. We model our work after the work of Dr. Martin Luther King. It's been said, so many wonderful things have already been said tonight at the risk of repeating them, but I want to say that I am a feminist too, and have been for quite a long time. I want to just share this with you. In honor of women today. This is, I don't know if you can see this. I hope you can see this.
Can you stop sharing so I can make the screen bigger with you?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
All right.
Oops, am I back? Okay. I want to share this picture with you. This is a picture of me right here at a very young age. Sorry for the glare there, but also with me there is my mother and my two older sisters who were they're 5 and 7 years older than I am. I was about a year there, a year and a half, and this is a very important picture because in all of my family's life, because it was at this time that my mother became the victim of domestic violence. My father, for a number of weeks, physically and psychologically abused my mother in a very horrific way, and in a way that threatened her very life and actually our well-being as well. Just on her own, and many of you may be familiar with these statistics, but it's very, very difficult for a woman with 3 children, and this was a long time ago, to step away and to try to escape that type of abuse and domestic violence. But my mother very bravely did. She didn't want to be a victim. She didn't want to be just a survivor. She actually, empowered herself to overcome that situation and to leave it, and to actually embark on her own professional career in a way that brought us just barely out of poverty and into our own educational successes. And so tonight I just wanted to kind of share the idea that today in International Women's Day, that we have to think about moving women from not just being victims to survivors, and not just to equality. But I want to throw out the idea tonight to this group that it's more than just achieving equality, because in many ways, equality, we're talking about power. And this requires leadership to establish equity and equality, and then to assume equality in terms of power. And I believe that women, through the use of the nonviolence methods and strategies and philosophy, which actually are grounded in the power of love, the most forceful power in the world, can actually change the world for the better, not just for themselves, but for everyone. Now, we all have dreams, and Aniece pointed out that what kind of society do we want to live in? And we all want a society that we have harmony, we live in peace, we're safe, we're secure for our families and our children. But how do we get there? In fact, in our own country, we're one of the most violent places in the world, some might say. 100 or so people are killed due to gun violence every day in our country. And a number of those, 8 to 10, include children. And those are the people who just are killed with guns. That doesn't include the people who are injured, wounded, tortured, live with disabilities as a result of that. Well, there are many forms of violence that we see. All you have to do is watch television, and almost everything in our entertainment culture has some type of violence in it. Heads being blown up, cars exploding, etc. And violence has become, in a sense, a type of entertainment in our culture. So we have cultural, historical, structural, and economic forms of violence. And who suffers the most? It's women who suffer the most. Women who are the greatest victims of violence, all the various forms of violence in our country, and for that matter, around the world. So we all have a dream to live better. Dr. King certainly had a dream, and we learned from him how to make some of those dreams become realities. But it wasn't an easy struggle to achieve the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which really was a human rights act. And remember, the 1964 Civil Rights Act didn't just give African Americans rights. It didn't ensure just the rights of those. It ensured the rights of all people. And largely, it led to empowering women as well. And women became very active, as they had been historically, but even more so, leading to Equal Rights Amendment, which, by the way, is still struggling politically in the country, and many other forms of struggles for equality. Now, I want to just share this idea with you. It's kind of a big idea, but since I'm a university professor, I can throw these ideas out there for you. And that's the idea of evolution. Because I think when we think about women and the things that we might do day to day, we have to really step back and look at the big picture. Because really, in an evolutionary perspective, that's right, the universe, the cosmos, the world, we humans are really here largely because of what women have brought to us. And I'm not talking about just the female physical ability to conceive and to bear a child. No, I'm talking about something even greater. And that is the innate ability and capability of women to nurture and to love. To nurture and to love. For example, when all of you were born, the very first thing that you experience in life is the care and love of your mother or some other human being who consoles you when you're crying, who feeds you when you're hungry. We're totally helpless on that. Humans come into the world totally helpless. And if we didn't have love and nurturance in the beginning stages of life, we really wouldn't be here, not just individually, but as a species in the world. Humankind would not survive if it were not for the power of love. It is within us. It's not just a nice idea. It's built into our brains and into our physiology, into our nervous system. This is why when we see someone who is struggling or who needs help, there will be someone there to reach out and help that person. You can all think of times where you were desperate and needed help, and someone came into your life to help you. And that's because as humans, we adapt to the threats and conditions in our life. And we do so mainly through love and community and cooperation. That's why we have families. That's why families have evolved. That's why tribes and communities and villages and towns and nations have evolved, because it's looking at how things work in the common good. Women are extremely gifted at this power of love and nurturance. But sadly, through many places in the world, this power, this enormous essential ingredient for the survival of humankind, is often overlooked, or even worse, it's threatened and victimized. So my message tonight is that this is so essential, not just in our personal life, in our cities, there in Cranston with Aniece and your city councilwomen there, but for the state, the country, and the broader globe. And we see this with the pandemic. Who has borne the greatest burden during the pandemic? It's women, the mothers, the teachers. Who are most of the teachers? They're women. The nurses. Who are most of the nurses? The women. And the women have really borne the greatest burden with the pandemic. And because of that, we have really come through some of the darkest times of this worldwide pandemic. And that's true in our country and around the world. So what is needed here? We need, of course, to respect women, and we need to honor women, and we need to raise them up and lift them up to the true equality that they must deserve. But more importantly than that, and this is my call to each of you, my call to action, and that's that we have to begin to address the cultural and structural and economic conditions which are perpetuating this victimization, violence against women, and the inequality that that results in. So I'm talking about a big idea tonight. All of you have said some beautiful things about what we can do to each other as person to person, as human to human. Those were great ideas, the challenges that you talked about earlier. I'm trying to make you think, what can we do united and together to actually change some of the conditions. Aniece, speaking very lovely tonight, beautifully ideas on racism and how we have to challenge racism. And racism isn't a person, it's an idea. It's a structure that's built into our society, into our communities. And these are the things, if women are to truly rise to their equality and to rise into positions of power and leadership, these are the conditions that we have to address. And how do we address them? We address them using some of the methods and power of nonviolence, the greatest change, transformational power we can use. Greater than war, greater than militarism and violence. It's nonviolence and the power of love. And I'll leave you with 6 ideas from Dr. King. The first is we must have courage. We must have the courage to actually live in nonviolence every day. Not just go to church and pray and say we're living peace, but every day to take on nonviolence as a way of life, an important way of life. And that means every day, in every way, we have to be thinking about how we can address these problems in our society using nonviolence and peaceful means. Someone earlier was saying, you know, we have to get rid of these judgments, this criticism, this complaining, this kind of internal hatred. So courage is the first step. Are you courageous enough? Secondly, we believe that we have to always be thinking about a beloved community. So every day when we step out into the world, we have to say we're stepping out into a community, but not a community that's full of threats and danger and everything, but a community of belovedness. And that means that it's a community where we have friendship and understanding. Friendship and understanding, not just of understanding the people we love, but sometimes the people who don't really love us. Third, we have to focus on problems and not on the people so much who are engaged in these problems. We all saw a terrible, just horrifying attack on our national capital, January 6th. And we saw all of these people. Who would be these people so un-American to attack our capital at such an important time in the transition of power? But more importantly than who was attacking our capital is what was attacking our democracy. So this is a simple idea. We have to focus on the problems and not be too distracted by the people who might be involved in those problems. Let's get to the root conditions of the problems. The fourth thing, courage, beloved community, focus on problems, not people. Fourth, we've got to be willing to take a little bit of suffering. That means some inconvenience. That means, you know, maybe some hard work. It all boils down to basically what I would think most of you know, sacrifice. Are you willing to make some sacrifices? And to do so without vindication, without vengeance, without getting back at people, for the sake of a higher purpose. Fifth, and this is a very important part of nonviolence, and that is the principle of love. And that means we have to kind of eliminate within ourselves, not just treat everybody nicely and courteously and please and thank you, but within ourselves, we have to eliminate the kinds of negative thinking against ourselves and against others. This is really the foundation, according to Dr. King and Gandhi and other great thinkers, of what nonviolent living as a way of life really means. It's not just the absence of physical violence, but it's the positive introduction of love and compassion and kindness. The final one of my 6 recommendations for you has to do with the principle of justice. And justice, of course, means balance. It means fairness. It means equality. And in order to have justice, we can't just have punishment for wrongdoing. We have to have restoration, or what Dr. King taught us, reconciliation. That means with our enemies, we have to find a way where their needs are met, our needs are met, and all needs are met. This is a great challenge. Remember, in the country's system of justice, there's usually in the courthouse or before the Supreme Courts, you see the Lady Justice, and she's standing there, she's blind, and she's holding the scale, which has to be balanced. It has to be fair. It can't be imbalanced. And when we talk about women, we see the inequalities and the imbalance in power structures in our communities, sometimes even in our very families. And so justice means equality. And it also means that in justice, we have to have mercy and forgiveness. So these are 6 ideas that I challenge everyone today and tonight who's listening. Courage, living in community, focusing on the problems underneath the bad behavior, not just the people. Being willing to sacrifice, give up some convenience to achieve great things. We have to be willing to do some of the hard work. The principle of love, not just externally being nice to people, but internally, turning off that negativity that we have when things don't go our way with people. And then justice and fairness, remembering how can everyone get their needs met in balance, in equality. And usually mercy and forgiveness play a role in that. I want to thank everybody for listening to me. I hope these ideas have some meaning to you. And if you can take 1 or 2 of them away with you and put them into practice tomorrow, I'm sure that we're going to have another few steps toward equality for all, including, most importantly, women. And I want to thank again Aniece. I want to recognize Aniece. Aniece, by the way, is one of the certified level 2 nonviolence trainers from our leadership of organizing, mobilizing, and we're very, very proud of Aniece. She's the first publicly elected councilwoman in all of Rhode Island who I believe has this training and background. And I hope that I'm sure she'll be putting it to good use. Thank you again. I don't know if you want to have any questions or anything, but I'll stick around if you want. Thank you again for allowing me to join you tonight and to share a little of my story and some of the ideas of our center's work with you.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful. The student in me couldn't help but take your notes. So if I got it right, courage, beloved community, focus on the problem and not people, suffering, yes. Sacrifice, love, justice, and fairness.
Yes.
Words to live by. So, and I would definitely sign up for your training.
Based on those notes, I think you've got an A+ going there tonight.
And here I was going to say, where do I sign up for your training?
Well, this coming summer, we'll have another one of our certification trainings. So we'll keep you posted on some of that.
But would you tell folks
more about it? Yeah.
Would you tell folks who are interested? Do they go on your website? Where would they go if folks are interested?
Actually, the website is being reconstructed now, so I don't know that there's much information on it, but there will be some announcements coming out as soon as they sort of reconstruct some of the website around that. But it's usually, I believe it'll be in early June or June. And so it'll be virtual this summer. Again, the university and the state guidelines and CDC won't allow us to have a large meeting. But But anyway, it'll be great. We had a wonderful virtual international nonviolence training program last summer, and we look forward to another version of it this summer. So stay tuned. I'm sure Aniece and Norley can circulate the information.
Yes, we will keep in touch. I will fill you up. So anyone who wants to take this training, I encourage you. And all the leaders we have need to take this training. So I was thinking about, you need really, that's a transformative training. And anyone who wants to engage in this work, I'm telling you, that's something that not only personally, professionally, and that's going to help you. So anyone who will be willing to take it, and we'll keep it in touch.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
I think it is an empowering experience for people. And I think Norley has completed the training as well as Aniece. And I think their work with Hope and Change, their energy, I think I know that the work they've done has been very empowering to others. And I know that the nonviolence study and practice that they learned from our center was a real contribution to their efforts.
Fantastic. I will definitely be looking forward to an opportunity to join you. So again, I wanted to thank everyone who was taking the time to be here.
I think Councilwoman Renzulli has a question.
Oh, so great. I apologize.
I won't, it's not a long question. I was just wondering, Paul, do you have trainings for smaller groups, say
sure.
a council, say a team, something that you do separately from the larger training?
Oh yes, we would be happy to arrange something for a group. We do that as you know, feasible, depending on where and when and how. But we'd be happy to talk with you about some of that. It would be awesome, not just for Aniece on the council to have the training, but your whole council to have the training.
That's what I was thinking.
That would be the first.
Yeah. All right, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Really good question. Anyone else has a question? All right, fantastic. I imagine that if we're all together in one room, you'd hear a wonderful round of applause, but we're all now bobbing heads on those squares. So know that we do appreciate, that was wonderful. And I definitely appreciate those remarks.
That's what we do in nonviolence.
Oh, well, there you go. I'll practice.
Yes. Like this.
We could say, oui, vous pouvez. Oui, vous pouvez.
Oui,
vous pouvez.
Oh, oui,
vous
pouvez.
Oui,
vous pouvez. Yes, you can.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I had the great opportunity to hear Dolores Huerta, who worked with Cesar Chavez in the 60s in the farm workers movement with many of the Latino Hispanic community and farm workers in California. She's 91 and she ended the meeting by having everybody cheer "Si se puede."
Yes,
so,
you can.
You can.
Vargas, si se puede.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yes, we can.
Si se puede.
I love it. All right. So just as we're getting ready to wrap up, I really wanted to say, again, thank you to all. We're going to have closing remarks, but I just wanted to still say thank you to all who took the time to be here with us today. And I also want to give a special thanks to Rhode Island College's committee, their dialogue on diversity and inclusion, who is a co-sponsorship of our event this evening. And it's the second year in a row that they have co-sponsored our event. So special thanks to them and all the work that they're doing to support this work in the community. And I just want to, I didn't get a chance to share this earlier, but I just wanted to say, you know, I am Aswood Bousseau, and I choose to challenge racial injustice. So that's going to be my my stance. And I'm glad you are all here to celebrate this with us. But for our closing remarks, Dr. Norley Germain, stage is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Aswood, and thank you everyone who joining this event tonight. So I want personally to thank our panelists, our councilwomen from Cranston, Nicole Renzulli and Jessica Marino, Lammis Vargas and Aniece Germain, and all other city council persons from Cranston that was not scheduled to talk, but they stayed almost the entire time with us. Councilman Matt Riley, Robert Ferry, and we also had Ed Brady. And we want also to thank, unfortunately, he already left, General Treasurer Seth Magaziner, Erin Arkan, who is the representative of the Senator Jack Reed's office, is here. So she was on Facebook watching. So I said, why don't you join this Zoom meeting instead? So she is here with us. Thank you a lot. And I know a lot, all you did, Erin, to make it possible. So Senator Jack Reed's busy schedule to find some minutes for us. And I mean, I know how hard it is, you know, and to take time to record these greetings. And I really appreciate all the effort, everything you did. And I want to thank also Steve Uprise. I don't know if you know Sir Alquist, so he is here with us also. Steve always covered all events, most of all those from minority communities. Sometimes people left over, they forget them. So Steve is here with us. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you to the Hope and Change for Haiti team who put this together, especially Aniece Germain and Dr. Aswood and Dr. Abelard. So I know how hard it is during this period. All three of you are educators, teachers, professors, but I don't know how did you do it, you know, find sometimes, you know, to put this event together. Thank you very much. I know the work of Hope and Change for Haiti focused on women and advocacy and immigrant advocacy, immigrant rights in Rhode Island, but we also work in Haiti. So I would encourage all of you, if you have time, you know, to visit our website and see the works we do. We don't post a lot about what we do because we learn one thing is that a lot of people who receive support, they don't like to be exposed with pictures and so forth, but we work with a lot of people, even though you don't hear us. We have so many people we work with. So if you can become a member by just sign up or just give some money, you know, whatever you can give would be very helpful. I want to take this opportunity while Dr. Paul is here to acknowledge what he's been doing. Dr. Paul believed in us from day one when we first started. As I work at the University of Rhode Island as an adjunct, I went to see him and I said, you know what, through Hope and Change for Haiti, we'd like to have more Haitians take that training. But the problem, I'm running a nonprofit who doesn't have a budget. We don't have money. And Dr. Paul said, oh, you know what? I'm going to give you some scholarship for, you know, so you can bring people from Haiti. So that's how we started. Like almost every year, we brought people from Haiti that they could take training. And now, if it was not political turmoil troubles in Haiti, we could even have a center running in Haiti because of the work the Center for Nonviolence and Peace Studies at HONOREE and the work of Dr. Paul de Mesquita did. And because he chose to work with us, he chose to give us the opportunity of bringing more people for training. Last year again, he said, I went and he said, I said, you need to bring more people. So he said, okay, we're gonna have three for you this year. But unfortunately with the COVID, everything went online, and we know how challenging it is for people living in Haiti to take training from, you know, online. So we hope as soon as we come back to normal, I mean, to the normal or new normal we can expect, that we can continue this really fruitful partnership where we can bring more people and also bring Dr. Paul and the University of Rhode Island to Haiti to train for nonviolence and peace studies, and especially leadership development. Thank you everyone for who joined tonight. That's not our last event this year. We're gonna have another one. We're gonna have another one and another one, as we are we support our efforts through events, especially gala we usually do in August. Unfortunately, last year we didn't have a gala, and this year again we are not sure we're gonna have one. If you can make any donation at all that would support our work, go on our website or on Facebook, you can make a donations, or you can write us a check and you will see the address where to send it. Thank you for joining. Wish you a good week and stay safe, stay healthy, respect all the CDC guidelines so we make sure that we're gonna come back to our normal soon. And don't forget, if there is any information about the COVID-19 vaccine you want to share, so continue to do it, follow with your elected officials, and then thank you.
Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Good night.
Thank you.
Great program. Thank you. Hope and
you.
change.
Thanks.
you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Barbara.
Thank you.
Barbara, can you wait 1 minute?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, I know. We'll chat.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello. That was a
Are we still on Facebook, Nolly? Can you stop on Facebook Live?
That
Yeah,
was a
okay. I'm going
wonderful
to stop. I'm going to stop the Facebook. Can you call Barbara on the phone instead?
Yes, I call you Barbara right now.
No worries, no worries. And then take your time. We'll talk
Okay.
soon.
Okay.